Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start with the story in which the old lady turned into an evil bee because of her mistake and was punished for it. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I certainly can return everything returned to sender. I work for USPS. I'm a window clerk at a small office and pretty much run the office. Everyone else works 6 minutes away at a larger office. This autumn, I had a lady moving into our area from out of the area. I took my time and explained how to do the change of address a couple of times and glanced at it when she turned it in. Nothing jumped out at me as being wrong, so I turned it in. A couple weeks later, a ton of mail starts coming for this lady and husband to my P.O. boxes. It's coming to a number I know I didn't rent out because I won't rent out due to continuing mail problems with the last tenant. So I look up her change of address and see there was a problem with it. She forgot to put the street name, just the house number and apartment number. So whoever input it into the system assumed it was a P.O. box. So since I was partly at fault and this lady seemed nice, I collected all her mail and went to my super. We went through the addresses for our zip code and narrowed it down to 2 possible apartments and called the property management to figure out which one. I put in a fix for the change of address, but by now a few of the companies have already changed her address into her new P.O. box address. I circled this on a piece of mail and wrote on a post-it about the error and if she can please call these 2 businesses and fix it to the correct address, and started handing off the mail to her carrier. No problems. Enter 2 weeks later, she comes storming into the post office raising holy hell that she doesn't have a P.O. box and isn't paying for one and isn't going to call these places to fix it because she didn't mess up. I try to tell her it's just 2 places, her bank and something else, and she cuts me off. I don't have a bank, I have a credit union. Just being really combative. Okay, same difference. No, a credit union. Okay, whatever, financial institution. But they've already updated their records to your new address, which is incorrect. I don't have the power to inform them of your correct address, you have to do it. If they're too stupid to send it to a P.O. box I don't have, then I don't need it. Okay, so let me get this straight. Anything I get for you to the P.O. box is to be returned to sender? No, that's not what I said. I don't need anything coming to a P.O. box, so send it back, okay? Have a good day. So anyway, it's a lot more than 2 companies trying to send her mail now. With a few holiday things have come through, she must have been looking for a check because she raised hell with my super. He called me and I walked him through everything that happened and to the point that she told me to return everything to sender that was addressed incorrectly, which I've been doing gladly. You went above and beyond for her. Bravo on your efforts. Underappreciated by this stupid woman, but I commend you. And our second story. How I got back at a scumlord. A few years ago, I rented an apartment from a guy. I didn't do my diligence and found out that the guy was a scumbag after I'd moved in and the papers were signed. The dumbbutt even tried to commit an act of fraud by tearing the last page of the damage inspection with my signature on it and attaching to the one he rewrote with some major damage missing. To top it all off, I'm pretty sure the place had a mold problem, as I had some breathing problems anytime I spent significant amount of time in there, and those metal storm awnings outside the window were caked with black mold and signs of water going into the building. I started looking for somebody who could confirm what I suspected, and then Scumbag got wind of it and basically called me and threatened me with an eviction. A couple weeks after that happened, I come home one day and find one of the windows cracked. He was outside that day fixing one of those metal shutters because it started coming off, and I figured he hit the windows with his ladder. He was supposed to replace the windows anyway, which never happened. So when I asked him about it, not only did he try to blame another tenant, he said I had to pay for the window. Probably did it to be a spiteful jerk and thought he could get away with it. On top of it all, he was caught going into a neighbor's apartment when he thought she wasn't home. She was in the bathroom having a shower. One day when I came back from the post office, he was outside clearing snow off the roof and asked me if my phone was working all right. I said yes it was, because it was working fine, and I thought the question was kind of strange. When I went up to my apartment, my phone had been moved, and when I opened it, it was a flip phone, it was frozen on the call history screen. Something I know I haven't checked, so I knew he was in my apartment when I wasn't there. I had enough, so I decided to get a copy of the landlord-tenant laws and started to lawyer up as I looked for another apartment. They were hard to come by. As it turns out, the damage inspection was invalid anyway due to a provision of prescribed statement that was missing, and the public health inspector had full authority to come in and inspect the property and force him to make repairs. You can probably see where I'm going with this. Anyways, I find a new apartment. I got my stuff out of there literally the first day. I got the keys to the new place. I sign the lease and give Idiot his 30-day notice. He wanted to do 3 weeks before I moved out, so I obliged. Because there isn't anything he could do anyway, I expected he'd zero in on new damage. I mean, he went straight for it like he knew where it was. There was some fading in one carpet he wanted me to pay for, which was there before and from wear and tear. Tearing in carpet in the bedroom that was in between where my bed was and the outer wall. Anyway, I convinced him to let me take a picture of the original because I'd lost mine, just in case he tries to change it. After that was done, the carpet guys show up. Now, mind you, it's a small town, and the guys who came to do it were local guys who were good customers at my work. I work at a restaurant, and has done some work for my boss. Apparently, Idiot wanted them to come in and clean all the carpets in the apartment, telling them it was vacant, and wanted them to clean the carpets in the apartment and all the carpets in the hallways to get to the apartments. Apparently, Dumbbutt was going to give me the entire bill. Well, the carpet guys and I decided what he was going to do was basically illegal anyways, and I was going to shampoo the carpets anyways, and there they are. We split the bill for the apartment's carpets from the hallway's carpets. It was actually a decent price, and they did a really good job. Only cost $20 more than if I rented one of those rug doctors and did it myself. And he gave me a receipt, so Idiot Scumlord couldn't even go after me for that, even though he legally couldn't anyway. I didn't want to trip any alarm bells as to what I was actually up to. About 2 days later, I came back to my now vacant and clean apartment and decided to snap some photos of the place and send them off to the public health inspector. I took pictures of the old rotting windows and its gaps, sagging ceiling above the entranceway to the building, the sagging tile ceiling in the kitchen that you could literally flop around. It wasn't a drop ceiling, but one of those old checkered pattern ceilings from the 60s or 70s that had asbestos in them. Some photos from outside the building that could be hazards, etc. I emailed them and got a response a day later, and basically they told me that they're on their way in a couple of days. Sure enough, true to the health inspector's word, he was there 2 days later to look at the property. As far as my apartment went, he said it barely passed and that he wanted to speak to the landlord about the building itself. He already noted some health and safety hazards just going up the stairs to my old place, so I know there was some stuff that definitely wanted him to fix. Turns out the health inspector made him put brand new windows in the place, made him put a brand new roof on the place. I noted the water damage and mold earlier, that was why. Replaced the furnace and a bunch of other things that cost him tens of thousands of dollars. And then when Scumbag wanted to do the final inspection, he went and found more damage because he apparently gave me a break before on some stuff. I wanted some time to tally the total to replace the carpets and such. Well, I dropped a letter at his door later that day citing the sections of the Residential Tenancy Act that stated his damage inspection was invalid and he basically had nothing to collect damages on, and he couldn't so much as collect on the cleaning, and that if he tried to give me a bill for all of that, and that if I didn't get my damage deposit back, then we're going to court. Mind you, I'd photographed and video recorded everything on my phone, so he couldn't even go back and change any of the paperwork. I got a call the next day from him, and he begrudgingly gave me back my damage deposit because he knew I legally had him by the balls. And our next story. What do you mean I can't drive my car? I've been a mechanic my entire working life so far, and this is one of my favorite experiences. I had a customer come in complaining about a vibration. I put the vehicle on the lift and checked the front end. I found a nearly broken tie rod and a faulty rack and pinion. So basically, the passenger side front wheel was not fully secured to the steering system and would soon break and cause the wheel to be completely disconnected from the steering. I told the customer how much the repair would be and told her it was unsafe to drive. She asked me to put it back together so she could leave. I told her that I could not do that because if it broke after I let her leave, I could be held liable. She started yelling and screaming about calling the cops and suing me and how her cousin's brother knows a guy who's related to the chief of police and I'll be arrested. She calls the police and they come out. I show the officers the vehicle and they understood the safety concern. They told me to just put the car down and let her leave. I did, and I even made her sign a statement declining crucial safety repairs. She left with the most "ha-ha, I told you so" smug grin on her face until she left the property, got pulled over, and her car impounded. They also gave her a ticket for reckless driving. I was so happy seeing her car get towed. I really appreciate the way you tried to help. A mechanic offering to take payments before even checking credit? It's unheard of. It's really nice. You did the right thing. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.